And here we are. It's Thursday, emerging from lockdown. How are you? How was your week? Now, I want you to imagine, first of all, get up and just join in on this. 5 minutes of your time. I want you to imagine these 5 minutes, each 30 seconds is an hour or a half hour even in your workday. So, I was doing this today. Join in on this. You've been at the computer for a half hour. You get up and we do some of this. And you do this maybe for a minute. We're not going to do it for a full minute, but just take some of these and throw them in during your workday, especially if you're working at home. Can you do this at the office? Oh, probably not. But go walk to the bathroom instead. You can walk like this, see what people say. Oh, this feels pretty good. You can turn your body from the trunk a little bit, like down here. Like if your shoulder's bothering you, try applying a little strength right here with a subtle kind of twist to allow your arm to come around. And good. Okay, so you sit back down, you go to work. Clock goes off 30 minutes later. Get back up again. Let's do something else. Take your hands together like so, and just trace a figure 8. As you do that, keep your eyes on your fingertips. What is this? What does this do? This is connecting right and left side of your body. This is getting that vestibular system or inner ear really stimulated, which connects your whole body, and switch directions. You can go faster. You might start getting dizzy. So you're getting challenged here. You can go bigger ranges of motion if you really want to, right? And that would be your 1 minute. Get back to work. 30 minutes later, let's get back up again. And here we go. On your hands and knees. So if you work at home and you got a carpet next to your computer, this is beautiful. You can just do this. Start on your forearms like this with your head down. You're going to rock up to your hands and lift your head, and then come back onto your forearms and drop your head. Look up with your eyes as well. Really important that you get your eyes moving. They've been locked on that computer screen, let's say for 30 minutes straight. Makes a big difference when you start moving your eyes way up, and exaggerate. Look way up at your eyebrows, as far as you can, and way down at your nose, past the tip of your nose. Exercise those eyes. Feel how your vision might even get a little better when you do this. This is, I've seen called a wave rock. You're waving while you're rocking. Okay. That's another 1 minute of your time. Back to work. Take a phone call. Maybe you go in the kitchen, make some coffee. Maybe you're at work. Well, here's one you definitely can't do at work, but you can do at home. One of my favorite things. This one will get everything moving. So when all else fails, try going to this one. Let's just do it. Start by getting on the floor, on your back. Let's do it on the back today. So your job is to get up. You can use as many hands, knees, legs as you want. Come all the way to your hands and knees like so, and then onto your back. Now you see, I tucked this leg one time, and I'm on hands and knees. Let me change that camera a little bit. Indeed, we were made to move, and your body's going to love this stuff. You'll see that if you're kind of feeling sluggish, when you're done with this, you might not feel so sluggish anymore. Notice this leg tucks under like so. Then I can come back. Then I can come back to the other side. So again, look with your eyes. Put your wholeness into it. Holistic. Your eyes, your breathing. It's your changing position. It's doing all kinds of great stuff to your body. It's not only waking it up and connecting it, but it would even be a really good warm-up if you're going to go out and exercise. Let's say you're going to play, I don't know, let's not even that. Let's say you're going to go out for a short run. This could be part of a great warm-up here. Now, if you want to add in some real strength even more to this, like for some of you, this might be plenty. For a little more advanced, maybe you can do something like this. Watch this. Notice my knees come to the floor. I take my hands down. I come back onto my back. Forward and back. Now, maybe you can't get both knees down. You might have to do one knee at a time. You might have to go like this. Then you might have to go like this. Then to go back, you might have to do the same thing. You might not be able to get in a deep squat. You might have to use a stool or put your hands on a chair or something to help you. If your hip or knee or ankle is giving you a lot of trouble. And by trouble, I mean maybe you've injured it years ago and it's not much range of motion. Then, if you want to add a little strength, here's what we can do. We'll come back to this position again. But now, I'm going to stay on the top of my foot back here, right? And I'm going to do most of my standing with this front leg because this back foot has trouble assisting very much in this position. You'll notice there's a balance component as well. Same when you sit back down. Then you can switch sides. You can use hands. You can not use hands. Let's do one more on each side. So this leg, this front leg, gets quite a bit of work. Yes, it makes you stronger. And yes, I feel my heart rate up. My head is cut off. Sorry about that. But that's just a few things. And if you watch the old episodes, you can see all kinds of moves you can use. It's not just something that I'm telling you to do, and by the time you get to the kitchen later on tonight, you've forgotten about it, or you intend to do it. It's something your body wants you to do. Doesn't have to be these exact ones I showed you, although a couple of them are pretty easy to do. If you want something to do that's more low-key, if you're in a public place like an office or something, then put something in the comments so, I can give you suggestions, find out what it is, what your situation is. Don't give up just because you don't have a room like this. Don't quit. You got one life, right? So speaking of life, I was thinking, I got an itch back here. Where's my personal assistant to itch my back? You know what I need? Bears do this, so they scratch their back on a tree. You ever tried that? It feels good. I've tried it. Anyway, speaking of life, one of the, to me, keys of Younger Than Last Year is the art of living. I think I've talked about this before. And art means a lot more things than just being a painter or a sculptor. And art is something, to me, the art of putting things in their right place. So the foundations, the 7 foundations of Younger Than Last Year, for instance, how you place those in your life, because they're so interrelated and they make up the big piece. Let's say you're painting a painting. It's the colors in it. It's the composition. That's 2 things. It's the lighting in the room. That's 3 things. 4, it's the lines that you choose to draw, maybe. It's the spacing. It's the depth. It's all these different things. Everything in their proper place can make or break something. Your life can be made or broken by not a very good art of living or paying attention to your art of living. So one of those is foundation number 3 that I want to talk about a little today. That's rest and recovery. it's the last several years I put quite a bit of effort into this one. One reason why is I read a lot about people that have lived. These people have lived to be quite old, but very vital. So people say, well, I don't want to live to be that old. But they're thinking to be, let's say, 90 years old, you have to be a decrepit, broken down, nothing. We've all seen those people that are 90 that are not that. They keep going, right? One of the things I learned about many of these people, and this is little pockets all over the world, is the sleep that they get. And it's not just they sleep a lot so much, they get good night's sleep, yes. But they go with, think of it this way. Let's think of it this way. I live in New York City here, and there's lights on all the time. There's noise all the time. There's something always going on. I'm in this room. Actually, the bed room's right over here. You can't see it. And there's a lot of things going on that will disrupt your circadian rhythms, if you know what those are. That's the dark and light, the sun and darkness, and your body is evolutionary, has been through evolution, to say this right, through evolution, as it goes along with that light and darkness. So when it gets light, you start waking up. When it gets dark, not only the circadian rhythm of sleep, but the urge to sleep often comes. Now, your circadian rhythms kind of change throughout the day a little bit, but when night comes and day comes and morning comes, there is an actual rhythm there. So it gets disrupted by all the light, let's say. Oh yeah, it gets disrupted by all the different noises. It'll get disrupted by just what you do right before bed, let's say. And then when I say right before bed, I don't mean 5 minutes before. I mean like an hour to 2 hours, hour and a half before bed, right? Now, that could include eating too much food, eating a heavy meal. That could include watching a ton of television or a movie or something to really get you stimulated. It could be reading a how-to book even, something simple as that keeps your brain thinking about the how-to, how to do something. How can I apply this to my life and stuff? When maybe you'd be better off reading a biography about someone that's overcome something big. So it gives you courage. So you go to sleep with that washing over you instead of some kind of how to do something. It could be you were in front of this computer screen right here. You had your eyes right up there, and you tried to go straight to bed. It could be a fight with your significant other. It could be 100 different things. So I've taken a lot of care to make sure I get a very good night's sleep. My significant other gets mad at me because she says, you can sleep anywhere. You just lay down somewhere, any bed, anywhere, or a couch or something, and you can just sleep. That's true. I am good at that. Where I do have trouble sleeping is on airplanes. The seats, I just find them really uncomfortable trying to sleep in an airplane. That's my only problem spot. But sometimes if I'm in the right thing, I can do it. And I sleep pretty good. There have been times. But it's uneven on an airplane. So here's what I do to prepare for a good night's sleep. This room in here, for instance, you can't see them. Right behind here, there's 3 windows. I have blackout curtains that I pull shut at least an hour before I go to sleep. I also shut off all the lights in here except for one little reading light right near the bed. Even though I'm not going to be in the room, I've prepared the room for sleep. Which, by the way, if you're going to buy a house, you really need to look at where the bedrooms are and stand in that bedroom and see, is this bedroom, am I going to be able to sleep in here? Because if you can't, don't buy the house or do a significant renovation on it. Because I'm going to go back to what I do to help me get a good night's sleep in a minute. This is just a quote from this wonderful book, Sleep, by Nick Littlehales. It's more, he works a lot with athletes and the importance of sleep and recovery, which is incredibly important. I wish I'd have gotten even better sleep back when I was a competitive runner. It would have helped me a lot. And to see how something affects you, you really have to look at the people that are doing something at a high level, because then it really stands out and you can learn things that you can use for yourself. Do you have to be an athlete? No, because everyone has to sleep. So I got good things out of this book, because he also talks about just regular people in here. Anyway, a guy that is a director of sleep and circadian neuroscience at the University of Oxford told the BBC, here's a quote from him. We are I can't do a British accent, so don't expect me to. We are the supremely arrogant species. We feel we can abandon 4 billion years of evolution. I don't know if it's that long, but 4 billion years. He might not be wrong. And ignore the fact that we have evolved under a light-dark cycle. What we do as a species, perhaps uniquely, is override the clock. In other words, we try to override nature itself, really. And long-term acting against the clock can lead to serious, and that's capital serious, health problems. That includes depression. That includes cancer. That includes Alzheimer's. These are things we're finding out when you disregard and kind of poo-poo sleep and treat it, or something else is going on and you wake up in the middle of the night and can't go to sleep regularly, or you have trouble getting to sleep. These are serious things. You have to look at these seriously. Don't just say, what can I do? You got to start looking into it. Now, if you got any, I'm no sleep expert. I can just tell you what I've done. So I shut all the lights off in here. I get it as dark as possible, right? I also like to have the room kind of set up. I wouldn't want there to be an office in here. This is just a comfortable place. I have all these books in here. You see all these comic book omnibuses in here. I often read one of these at bedtime. Sometimes I read a biography. Sometimes I am reading one of these. Something fiction or something heroic or courageous or something fantasy often works good for me. Another thing, I look at what's in my head, and life is a series of endings, moment-to-moment ending. And the day has ended right there when I lay my head down and I say, okay, the day's ended. It's never coming back. Everything that happened, any memories, thoughts, they're just ended now. And the day it's kind of like a death. The day has died, right? But yet a new one's coming. A new one's going to be born. And then I kind of smile a little bit and say, I wonder what the newborn day is going to bring. A lot of times that lets me drift off. I also use box breathing. I've shown you this before. I'll breathe in through my nose for 4 counts or 5 counts, right here in the bottom lobe of my lungs. Very important to get it right here. Not down here in your tummy. It takes a little practice, but the rest and digest parasympathetic nervous system, a lot of the nerve endings are stimulated when you breathe down here. Inhale 4 to 5 counts. Hold your breath 4 to 5 counts. Relax your chest. Exhale slowly 4 to 5 counts. Then hold your breath for 4 to 5 counts. Then, without gasping all the air in, just slowly bring the air back in and start another cycle of box breathing. So, inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4. Usually I'll set the clock 5 minutes, sometimes 10 minutes. And a lot of times, I will start drifting off before I'm even done. At first, the breathing's a little difficult and my stomach might not feel that so great that night, but after a few minutes of it, everything calms down. It's pretty remarkable. And my brain calms down, and I can often start drifting off. Sometimes you can even use it to help you get back to sleep if you wake up in the middle of the night. Another thing I don't do, I don't drink a whole lot of water or something too close to bed. I don't like getting up in the middle of the night to go into the bathroom, interrupting a sleep cycle. So the more you know about this stuff, we're almost done here, the better. A sleep cycle, by the way, lasts roughly 90 minutes. And a good night's sleep is made up of several sleep cycles. 4 of them is a pretty good night's sleep, right? That's a 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 6 hours sleep. That's not too bad. Ideally, you might want 5 of them, but you might not get that. Maybe later in the day you can do some box breathing and relax for 20 minutes. Maybe not sleep, but kind of just totally relax. That's a recovery method. There's just a whole world of things to learn about this, and I'm still learning all the time. And what has it done for me? Well, often I wake up in the morning and take my resting heart rate. After one of those really good nights' sleep, I always have the lowest resting heart rate. That means my body is recovered. That means my cells regenerated. My brain has done the dump. If you're not getting good night's sleep, or if it's 3-4 hours a night, or if you're working nights, well, then you're kind of stuck and you got to make it work somehow, right? But if these things are not the case, if you can do some of the things I'm recommending, and by the way, I wear a sleep mask, a very good one, which I can show on another episode, that cuts off all the light, and I'll show you a few other things I also do. If those things are happening, you are asking to have years possibly shaved off your life. Not even possibly, almost definitely. Or the stress of it starts getting to you. I'll tell you the story about my father again in another episode. So, rest and recovery, part of the art of living and the art of younger than last year. One last thing, if you're getting up in the morning an hour early so you can go hit the gym, you got to ask yourself a question. Am I working against myself here? If you're not fully recovered from the night before, and then you go blast yourself with the stress of some kind of exercise, which we'll talk about in another episode too, are you really getting anywhere? Or are you actually maybe long-term even going backwards? It's the art of living, playing in this game of life and the game of younger than last year. So I'm going to get up and down off the floor a couple more times and sign off. And let's you and I do one thing each day to be younger than we were last year. I'll see you next Thursday. Take care. Hey, this is Robert Troch of Younger Than Last Year. And if you're like a lot of people during lockdown, you might have eaten too much. You put on some weight, lost some sleep, felt depressed. Well, now we're starting to emerge from lockdown. And I want to help you make a turnaround from all that stuff. How are we going to do that? Well, here in the fitness studio, we've created live video episodes to help you make that turnaround so you can feel energized and healthy again. Every episode will have some exercises in it to get your blood flowing so you feel good, but also cover lots of tips and advice on all the 7 foundations of Younger Than Last Year. Please join us on Facebook every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to start developing a fitness plan to emerge from lockdown, you can sign up for a free one-on-one session at our website, email me, or give me a call. Be well. Talk to you soon.